Marina Bay's first residential plot in over a decade. Is this a golden opportunity or is it going to be an overpriced gamble?
With only 16 residential plots in the Marina South precinct, this could mean first mover's advantage. But at 2008 per square foot starting from, is it still worth it? Welcome back, I'm Nabil.
And I'm Danis.
And today we'll be discussing more on One Marina Gardens. And first, a quick disclaimer. All views that we're going to share today is based on our own opinions and it shouldn't be taken as a financial advice.
We're going to be breaking it down for you here today. Developer, layout efficiency, site plan, market data, etc. And of course, most importantly, whether you should even be considering buying a unit right here. And as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you find this content useful. Timestamps are right below, so feel free to skip on to the part that you actually feel the most useful.
Here are some quick facts about One Marina Gardens. The developer is Kingsford. They've got a couple of developments that they have on helm, namely Kingsford Hillview Peak, Kingsford Water Bay, Chuan Park, which it sold 76% on launch day.
Yeah, that was kind of wild actually, if I remember correctly. People were queuing and also booking past dinner time. And of course, this was trumped by the recent Lentor Central launch as well, right? At 94%.
Now here are the key details of One Marina Gardens. 937 units ranging from a 1-bedroom all the way to a 4-bedroom, seated on 131,000 square feet of land. Where the bulk of our layouts are the 1 and 2 bedrooms, which are the smaller layouts. This seems to be targeting the younger professionals as well as investors who are quantum sensitive and they are looking for something in the city centre which are more palatable.
Yeah, and actually to put things into context, the recent Lentor Central, 70% of the units were actually a 2+ study and above, right? And these were almost 800 square feet. And also even at Chuan Park, the foregoing percentage that I just talked about was actually circa 90%, meaning all the 2+ study and above in sizes were actually 90% of the total of 900+ units in Chuan Park when it was launched.
So we all know the golden rule of real estate is location, location, location. But what makes One Marina Gardens stand out? And if you've been in the market long enough, you'll be thinking transformation. Will it be just hype or real value in there?
Yeah, I completely resonate with that, Nabil. But I think it's important to note that this is literally the first piece of the puzzle in an entirely new precinct. So it's the first ever residential plot of land to be launched in the Marina South planning area. It's also part of a master plan 10-minute radius, if you will, in the city as well. Pretty much a government-backed transformation, right? Similar to the Greater Southern Waterfront. Like I said earlier, we have 16 plots, i.e. 15 more plots coming up. And the last one, this is very proximal to the key business hubs around the area, your Raffles Place, your Bugis area, your Tanjong Pagar area, etc.
So I guess this isn't just building another condo, it's about building an ecosystem. You know, having businesses, retail, commercial spaces, and lifestyle places all connected seamlessly. Being the first development in a new area, think about Lentor cluster. Lentor Modern actually launched back in September 2022 and the 6th plot of land that was launched was actually Lentor Central. It could mean One Marina Gardens could very well set the benchmark pricing for future launches. And when new projects comes, historically we've seen that the prices actually launch a little bit higher.
Yeah, I suppose it's about creating real demand, right? I mean, people need homes, businesses need people, and obviously for businesses to flourish, you kind of need to create a decent ecosystem, right? And that's how property prices seem to have been rising in the past in Singapore. But the real question is, should you be actually one of the first movers into this area, or should you wait it out for a bit and see, how this entire situation pans out?
Yeah, here's the thing. I actually discussed this with a client of mine and he did bring up a topic about the sale. A particular unit was sold at almost more than $1 million loss. And that's something that, a record loss if you will, something that is concerning. Here's the kicker. The buyer who purchased or who sold that unit wasn't the first owner. He or she was the third owner. The first 2 owners that purchased that unit in particular made a handsome profit. And the third buyer actually purchased a significantly higher price than the market value. We have to understand that the dynamics of that portion of how it actually ended up having a loss.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it was 2011, right?
Yep.
2011, you kind of didn't actually have all these cooling measures. And obviously, like you say, the market dynamics was very different.
Yep.
But then again, that's the thing about real estate, really. I mean, at the end of the day, you shouldn't really be timing the market. It's time in the market that really matters. You also need to be strategic about the entry price that you do make at the start. But of course, at the end of the day, you also need to have the exit in mind. That's actually very, very important.
If you're intending to purchase something at One Marina Gardens, this is something that you should look out for. Come together with us and we can actually show you data and facts to back up what we feel is a decent purchase price.
I think on that note, let us just quickly dive into how District 1 and 2, which are obviously the exact districts that we're looking at. One Marina Gardens is actually in District 1, right?
Yep.
But we're also looking at District 2 because they're just so proximal to each other.
Yep.
So as you can see on the chart, it kind of captures the movement in the price trajectory across all these different districts. So you can see that Raffles Place Marina, which is District 1, has performed at negative 12% in the last 10 years, actually.
Yep.
And Tanjong Pagar, you have your Queenstown, Middle Road, Katong, Simei, etc. They have all kind of made positive upturns, even though in District 2, which is where Tanjong Pagar and Chinatown is, it was actually a measly 4%. To put it into perspective, you have the extreme ranges, you have the negative, and you also have the 90+% on the other end of the spectrum.
I guess some of the reasons that I can think of why this is actually happening is because of the few pointers over here that I'm going to discuss. Firstly, urban revitalization. Areas like Bugis benefited from targeted rejuvenation. Secondly, buyers now want homes near lifestyle, culture, green spaces, as well as being able to access it easily. And decentralization of the business clusters, which is really, really important because now we've seen businesses setting up bases in places like One North, in the second CBD in Jurong. This is something that will allow work, live and play to transform in this whole cluster.
Yeah, I feel you're right and I agree with you as well. But I mean, that's it, let's be real. District 1's prices seem to have been declining over the past years, and to that end, it probably signals structural issues, weak demand, and oversupply situations. I think it's only normal for it to raise concerns amongst investors, be it people who are buying for own stay or people who are literally just investing, right, for the longer term. But I think I would like to also, remind myself that we need to consider the fact that this Marina Bay rejuvenation is part of the government's larger transformation plan. It's also a further extension of the Greater Southern Waterfront, right?
Yep.
It's on the other end right now. So I mean, I'm kind of wanting to buy in to the fact that this might potentially unlock value in this area and also shift sentiments around whether the price trajectory would actually follow what has happened in the past, or it would create a new story, so to speak. So I think at the end of the day, for investors or home buyers with a longer term horizon, it's not going to be just about location, right? It's going to be about understanding what your needs are, what your investment horizon looks like, and at the end of the day, how the government's plans is actually going to transform the chapter for this particular part of the island.
Exactly, Danesh. I think smart investing today means going beyond prestige. Here in the core CBD locations, historical data suggests it is important to approach with informed information, because in real estate, past performance and future trajectory don't always move in sync.
Let us now take a closer look at the District 1 and District 2 developments in terms of layout efficiency to assess how that really affects the actual square foot price that you're actually paying. It's also what we would call the usable, livable space. Yeah?
Now, one thing to note, units in District 1 and 2 tend to be on the larger scale, but that doesn't always translate to more usable space.
Yeah, I mean, many of these layouts actually, especially on the higher end, they tend to have very long corridors, maybe high ceilings to give you the whole feeling of grandeur. But at the end of the day, it really encroaches into the effective usable spaces of these particular layouts. I mean, yeah, you might feel that it's luxurious, but you're kind of overpaying per square foot, really.
Take Marina 1 residences, for example. A one bedroom over there, it's at 721 square feet. And when you factor in the corridor space, the structural beams, columns, your net usable space also shrinks. So the bedroom size is generous, but is it necessary?
Yeah, View Enchanted is actually another case, really. It looks quite pretty from the outside as a stylish modern development, but the two-bedders are actually approximately 1,000 to 1,100 square feet.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really are targeting the average couple or the CBD working professional, do they really have so much of time to spend in a 1,000 square feet apartment,
Right. By contrast, developments like Spottiswoode Suites offer smaller units at 441 square feet, and this has got an efficient layout and efficient usable space.
Spottiswoode Suites is actually District 2, and the other two examples that I gave, I mean, View Enchanted is actually District 1. I believe the one that you were talking about earlier is also District 1. So what we're really driving at is that there is a mix of efficient and inefficient layouts in these two districts, really.
So while per square foot in some of these older or larger units may seem attractive to buyers, the actual usable space might not match the price you're paying.
Yeah, and that's especially important in the CBD where you're already paying a premium for the
Yeah.
land price.
Especially if you're investing for rental yield or resale value, a smaller but well-designed layout always trumps others. Let's take a closer look at One Marina Gardens and see what layouts they have to offer.
Yeah, so unit sizes here actually range from 431 square feet for a one-bedder, and they go all the way up to a four-bedroom premium at 1637 or 38 square feet. One particular layout that really stands out to me is actually the two-bed, two-bath dumbbell layout, which is currently at 667 square feet. And it incidentally is also the Showflat layout, right? The dumbbell layout style is typically very, very good for an investor. What you can do is you can either rent it out to one person or you can rent it out to two separate tenants because it's a two-bed, two-bath and you have toilets on either side, flanking the living and dining. And that obviously gives people the privacy and at the same time, it bumps up your rental yield. And if it's for a homestay, say for example, I'm living with my husband and, we live with an in-law, then we could take one side and they could take the other side as well.
Yeah.
So that's really excellent. And of course, in terms of the spaciousness as well, because of the way that it is laid out as dumbbell, when you enter, typically to the subconscious mind, you actually feel like the space is a lot bigger because once you step into the door, you actually see the entire space right in front of you, as opposed to navigating like corridors and turns and stuff like that.
For me personally, I think I prefer the 3-bedroom premium, which is also the layout that you will be seeing at a Showflat. And this is something that's really, really important because when you're purchasing something at the One Marina Gardens development, you want something with a view. In this, accentuates the size of the room as well, which they've got this view of a 270 degrees in the master bedroom. This is something that's unique. It's something that you should look into if you were to buy a big layout in One Marina Gardens.
And actually, speaking of views, right, this development actually has two towers, 30 stories and 44 stories. Yeah. It actually has a total of 26 stacks, right? 13 stacks per block. But the very interesting thing is that unlike your typical rectangular tower blocks, this is actually two T-shaped tower blocks. So instead of having only 4 corner units for the typical ones, you actually have 6 corner units. And the other interesting thing is that out of the 12 total number of corner units in both the blocks, 4 of them are one-bedders. Something that's really, really not heard of in the market typically because at the end of the day the developers typically want to optimize the frontage for the larger bedroom units.
With that being a corner unit, the one bedroom's bathroom has got a window which has got a natural ventilation. Again, hardly comes by in the market, and if you're up for a one bedroom, this is something that you should look out for.
Yeah, so as they say, location, but we're also saying layout. So
with that, we'd like to share with you the starting from prices at One Marina Gardens, which actually being rolled out from the developer. We've got one bedroom starting from 1.16xx, 2 bedrooms starting from 1.8, 3 bedrooms starting from 2.45 million, and 4 bedrooms starts from 4.45 million. We've seen prices like this that has already been accepted in the OCR new launch. I'm not saying that these developments are not good, but what I'm saying is that if in the OCR development has already transacted this kind of price point, I think buying into the Marina South precinct at a slightly higher premium or even at the same price point would be something that you should look out for. So for example, Parktown Residences, a 1 bedroom have already transacted more than 1.2 million up to 1.273 million, which is something that is going to be interesting because the prices in One Marina Gardens starts from 1.16 million. And even if you were to surpass the 1.273 million, for example, if you were to purchase at 1.3, 1.4, I feel it is still a fair price point for you to be located in the Marina South precinct. Next, at Jayden, a 2-bedroom have already transacted more than 2.3 million. And the thing about it is, granted that this may be a bigger layout, for example, a 2+ study, but we still have to consider the quantum that you're looking into buying an OCR development versus buying an RCR development in the Marina South precinct. Lastly, I want to touch on Elta, which has got a 3-bedroom that starts from 2.198 and it goes all the way up to 2.89. And if you're going to purchase something in the RCR region at the 2.4 plus to 2.8 million, I think it's a fair price point for you to enter in the new launch market. The next thing that we'd like to touch on is actually the resale price point of the 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. District 1, the resale and subsale layouts, a 1-bedroom unit types, we actually could come up with average pricing of developments that is in the resale market in the cluster of District 1. So for example, the Cliff, we are seeing an average price point of 1.21 million for a 1-bedroom layout. Sale at Marina, we're looking at an average price point at about 1.4 million. So we've got ranging from 1.18 all the way to 1.94 million for a 1-bedroom unit type. And then we've got something at One Shenton, which on average again 1.38 million. So from this, we understand that the pricing that you are paying for One Marina Gardens is actually on par with the resale developments in the cluster, the same district, which is something that we should be considering when we were to purchase a unit at One Marina Gardens.
I mean, the last development that got launched prior to this One Marina Gardens is actually Marina One Residences, as you guys can see right here. And you can see that the PSF is ranging right now in terms of transactions, an average of 2,000, but then the range is 1,963 and 2,522. But another thing to note is that right now, compared to Marina, well, any one of them, right? Marina One and Marina Bay Residences, Beyond Shenton, etc., them versus O.M.G. At the end of the day, you have to look at the effective usable space that the development is actually giving you, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to give you a good balance between not giving you too oversized a space, like too big a bedroom, too big a kitchen, but at the same time not overly compromising such that you feel that it's too tight.
Talking about layouts, we've actually got a layout in the sale where you've got beams, you've got irregular shaped bedrooms, which would allow the effective space be a little bit more unique in terms of designing the usable space in that cluster. Now we hope that we've helped you make sense of One Marina Gardens, and now the decision is yours. And if you've yet to visit the Showflat, DM us and we'll be happy to show you around.
And also, regardless of whether you're an investor looking for an, investment opportunity, or homestayer looking for the whole city living vibe, at the end of the day, O.M.G. does seem to offer a select type of rare opportunity in the current market. But of course, if you're sitting on the fence, like Nabil said, feel free to reach out to us and we can share with you our insights, because at the end of the day, this video is not intended to be the whole comprehensive review of this development, because it really depends on what your requirements are, your parameters, and your holding period looks like.
So if you found this video helpful, please assist us with the like and share, as well as subscribe to our channel, and we'll be happy to hear any feedback from you guys, and we'll see you on the next video.
Yep. Bye, guys.